Alright. In today's session, we're going to learn how to fetch data using JdbcClient in Spring Boot. Till now, we've seen how to insert records using different approaches, but today the focus is on reading data from the database, whether it's a single record or a list of records. We'll see how easy and clean JdbcClient makes it. No boilerplate code, no manual mapping, just fluent and expressive style. So let's dive in and start fetching some data. Before we jump into today's topic, let's quickly recap what we did in the last video. We explored 6 different approaches to set parameters using JdbcClient. First, we looked at index-based positional parameters and saw 3 different ways to pass values. Then, we moved to named parameters and again discussed 3 clean and flexible approaches to set those. So in total, 6 powerful ways to set parameters using JdbcClient we discussed. And here's the cool part, all these approaches we discussed aren't limited to just insert operations. They work exactly the same for select, update, and delete as well. The only real difference? In insert operations, we use the update method to execute the query. But for fetching data, we use methods like query, and for updates or deletes, again we stick with update method. That's the only thing that changes based on what we're doing. So once you understand how to set parameters, you're all set for any kind of query. Before we move ahead, I highly recommend you check out the previous video where we covered all the different approaches to set parameters using JdbcClient. It'll really help you understand what we're about to do, especially the 6 powerful techniques for setting positional and named parameters. So make sure to watch that first if you haven't already. In this video, we're going to implement a super useful method, find by employee ID. This method will fetch a single employee record from the database based on the ID, if it exists. Simple, but very common and important in real-world projects. So let's dive in and see how we can do it using JdbcClient. In this video, we're going to use the named parameter approach for the query. You can always try the other approaches on your own. We discussed them in the last video, so feel free to explore. For now, let's focus on fetching an employee record by their ID using a named parameter query. I'll copy the select query from our employee named JDBC repository, since we already wrote it there, and paste it right here. Okay, we've got the query set. Now, what we need to do is call the SQL method from JdbcClient and pass in this query. Alright. So, in this query, we have just one named parameter, employee ID. Now, since there's only one parameter, I'm going to pass it one by one using the per method. For fetching data, JdbcClient provides a query method. If you look at my screen, you'll see that there are multiple query methods available. In this video, we're going to discuss a few of them, not all. Now, pay attention. I've highlighted one of these query methods, which takes a result set extractor implementation. Here's the cool part. With this method, we get the result set, and we need to manually fetch all the data from the result set and convert it into the format we want. This gives us full control over how we handle and map the data. For example, let's say we want to fetch a list of employees. We'll need to process the result set to extract the data and convert it into a list of employee objects. So, with the result set extractor, we're not just getting the data automatically, we have to map the result set to our desired output. This gives us a lot of flexibility when working with data that requires some custom handling. Alright, let's provide a Lambda implementation for our result set extractor functional interface. Remember, this interface gives us a result set object which contain all data. Since we know this query should return only one result, not multiple, I'll use an if statement to check for a row. If we were expecting multiple rows, we'd loop using a while loop. We've already written an employee row mapper to map a row into an employee object, so we'll just call that here. If a record is found, we'll return it wrapped in an optional using optional.of employee. no record is found, we'll return optional.empty. See, it's all completed. In this method, just like with JDBC template, we're providing an implementation of ResultSetExtractor to map the ResultSet data to our employee object. If you watched that video, you'll remember how similar it is. Now, let's restart the application. Okay, the app is running again. Now, let's open dbeaver to check our database. See here that our employee record, with employee ID 46, belongs to Pankaj, who is 38 years old and works in QA.
Switch to Postman.
Alright, now I'm going to hit the API to fetch the employee record with employee ID 46. Alright everyone, check this out. We fetched the details for employee ID 46, and you can see Pankaj's full profile right here. His age, department, and all his details are exactly what we expected. Isn't that fantastic? Alright, now let's test a case where the employee doesn't exist. I'm going to hit the API with an employee ID that isn't in our database. Let's say 460. See that? We got an employee not found response. Alright. In the previous approach, we manually looped through the result set, fetched each field, and built the employee object ourselves. It worked fine, but yeah, a bit of extra effort, right? Now you might be thinking, isn't there a simpler way? Like how JDBC template or named parameter JDBC template lets us just pass a row mapper and it handles the rest. Well, good news. Yes, JdbcClient supports that too. Look at my screen. Here's a query method that takes a row mapper directly. So let's pass our employee row mapper here. No need to manually extract data anymore. JdbcClient will automatically use our row mapper to convert each row into an employee object. Alright. Now look at my screen. This query method here returns a mapped query spec object. So what's cool about that? Well, this object gives us a bunch of handy methods for further processing. Let's go through them quickly. First up, there's the list method. Use this if you want to fetch a list of results. So, in our case, if we needed a list of employee objects, we just chain list method after query method. Next is the single method. This is used when you expect exactly one result. But careful! Just like JDBC template or named parameter JDBC template, if no record is found, it throws an exception. And now the one I love, the optional method. This returns an optional employee, so if no record is found, it won't throw an exception. Instead, you get an empty optional. Super clean and avoids all that try-catch boilerplate. One quick reminder, folks, the optional method is only meant for single record fetches, not for lists. If you're expecting multiple results, like a list of employees, you should use the list method instead. Now, since we're looking for a single employee, and we want to handle the case where the employee might not exist without throwing an exception, we can use the optional method. So, instead of manually catching exceptions or checking for null, this method will automatically give us an optional. If the employee is found, we get the value. If not, we get an empty optional. Now, let's call the optional method after the query method. This will return an optional of employee. If an employee is found, we'll get the employee object. If not, we'll get an empty optional.
See, it's so much cleaner now.
We've simplified the code significantly.
Now, let's restart the application. And hit the API again.
See, we're getting the details for employee ID 46, which is Pankaj. He's 38 years old and belongs to the QA department. Alright, now let's hit the API with an employee ID that's not in the database. Let's go with 460. See, we got an employee not found response. This is exactly what we expect when the record doesn't exist. And with the optional, it's neatly handled for us. In the previous approach, we were still passing our custom row mapper or using Spring's predefined row mapper. Can JdbcClient provide a method where we just pass the class type and it automatically converts the result set data and populates the object?
Yes, it can.
See on my screen, there's a query method that takes the class type directly. But here's an important thing to remember. The field names in your class and the table columns need to be exactly the same, except for differences like camel case and snake underscore case. Alright, now let's call this query method and pass employee.class directly. This will let JdbcClient automatically map the results set to our employee class without needing a custom row mapper. It's that simple.
Okay, now let's restart the application. Hit the API again.
See, we got the details of employee ID 46. It's Pankaj, 38 years old, and working in QA. Isn't it amazing how easy it was? We passed just the class type, and JdbcClient took care of everything for us. Okay, now let's hit the API with an employee ID that doesn't exist in our database. See? We got the response saying, employee not found. Alright, let's quickly recap what we've covered in this video. We implemented a method to fetch a single employee record by employee ID using JdbcClient. We explored various ways of mapping the results set using row mapper and directly using class types with JdbcClient for efficient data mapping. We also showed how to use optional to handle cases where no data is found. Super clean and neat. Next time, we'll dive into fetching a list of records, and we'll also add pagination and filtering to make it even more powerful. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Hit that bell icon to get notified about the next video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.